Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving deep into AI in education today.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, we've got a ton of sources. Stanford research, insights from Google,
Okay.
news from Fox News, and even some tech updates just to
Wow,
yeah,
that's
to get a full picture.
a lot to cover.
We'll be looking at how AI is changing, I guess, how we learn and teach and think about education.
I think, what's so fascinating is just how much AI is already impacting things. It's not just like a future thing anymore.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Remember all that talk about AI writing essays?
Yeah.
Creating art.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how tools like ChatGPT and Daily are being used in classrooms.
And what that means for teachers and students.
Exactly.
We'll also look at, personalized learning,
Okay.
making education more accessible, even training doctors.
Oh, wow.
Did you know there's a Stanford student who made an AI platform that simulates patient interactions, like between doctors and patients?
Really?
Yeah, to help med students get better at diagnoses. That's amazing. It seems like there's so much potential there.
There is.
But we're not just going to focus on the good stuff.
Right.
We'll look at some of the concerns, too, like from filmmakers who are a little worried about the downsides of AI.
Uh-huh.
And we'll see how all of this plays out in the news, like governments trying to figure out how to regulate this,
Mm-hmm.
and industry leaders like Jeff Bezos putting money into AI robotics.
It's a complicated issue.
It is a lot of layers.
Yeah, why don't we start with Stanford's take on AI's potential?
Okay.
Their Accelerator for Learning program is doing some really interesting work.
Yeah, their overview on AI changing education through platforms like generative AI,
Yeah.
adaptive learning.
Right, right.
It's a lot to unpack.
Yep.
But what I found interesting was their emphasis on research funding,
Okay.
specifically for learning through creation with generative AI.
Interesting, yeah.
It seems like they're really investing in this idea of generative AI.
Yeah, it seems like they see it as more than a fad. They're putting their money where their mouth is.
Right, exactly. They also have a program funding research into generative AI for the future of learning.
I mean, that just shows how serious they are about this.
It does.
They're looking long term, like, how is this going to shape education going forward?
Exactly.
And that's where Marcos Rojas comes in, the Stanford student.
Oh, right.
His AI platform simulating those patient-physician interactions.
Yeah.
It's just a perfect example of how AI can create these really effective learning experiences.
It really is incredible when you think about it.
It is.
Like, the possibilities for medical training students can practice, procedures,
Mhm.
diagnoses, all in a safe environment.
Virtual world, yeah.
Exactly. And it's not just medicine, right? You can think
Yeah.
about
Oh, absolutely.
engineering, law,
Mm-hmm.
even the arts.
Yeah, the potential is huge.
It is.
It is.
Okay, but let's switch gears a little
Okay.
to Google.
Right.
They've been pretty vocal about their view on AI.
They have.
Saying it can be a powerful tool,
Mhm.
but never replacing teachers.
It's a good point. Yeah.
What's their approach, though?
Well, they're really focusing on, I think, elevating the teaching and learning experience.
Okay.
So for both teachers and students. So for example, they're using AI for security, like blocking spam, malware, those kinds of things.
Right. That makes sense, especially with so much learning happening online these days.
Exactly.
Okay, but what about the actual teaching and learning? How are they using AI there?
So they've developed this AI assistant called Gemini.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah. And it's supposed to help teachers save time, create more engaging lessons.
I can see how that would be super helpful.
It would be, yeah, it's like a super TA almost.
Yeah, like a teaching assistant that can do it all.
Exactly.
I do wonder about this whole AI literacy thing.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Do students and teachers even know how to use these tools?
That's key, right?
Yeah.
And Stanford, they're tackling that with programs like AI Tinkery and the Craft Project.
Okay.
These are designed to help high school teachers teach AI literacy.
So they're starting early.
They are, yeah, because I think there's this realization that AI is no longer like an optional thing to understand.
Right. It's becoming essential, like basic digital literacy.
Exactly.
And Google's doing stuff too, right?
Yeah, they've got training courses, toolkits, guides.
Differentiators.
Yeah, to help them use AI in their classrooms.
Okay, so both Stanford and Google seem to agree on...
Yeah, that AI literacy is important.
Yeah, for the future.
It's not just about the technical stuff either.
Right. It's about being able to think critically about this stuff.
Exactly, yeah, and how AI is changing society and making informed choices about it.
Yeah, that makes sense. We can't ignore, the ethical side of all this,
Of course not.
especially with student beta, privacy, security.
Well, Google, they talk a lot about their responsible AI practices.
Right.
And, human-centered design. They say student data is protected, with security measures, and they meet all the compliance standards.
Okay, that's good.
But there's also this whole debate about cheating.
Yeah, there is.
Some people think tools like ChatGPT are going to make cheating way easier.
Right.
Others say that's overblown.
Where does Stanford fall on that?
Well, their research suggests that those initial fears about cheating may be a lot exaggerated.
Oh, okay.
But, it's still early.
Yeah.
It's changing fast.
Right, we're still figuring it all out.
We are.
Okay, well, let's see what the media is saying about all this.
Right.
Fox News' AI newsletter, I thought it was pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah.
It had a lot of different views.
Oh.
Like, on one hand, they talked about filmmakers,
Okay.
Scott Beck and Brian Woods. They're worried about AI's potential negative impact.
They've been pretty vocal about that, yeah.
They even put a message in their film, Heretic. Oh, really?
With Hugh Grant
Yeah.
saying no AI was used. That's a pretty big statement.
It is.
But then on the other hand, they talk about AI-powered attack drones,
Right.
which just shows how fast things are moving on the military side.
Yeah, it's almost like two different worlds colliding.
It is.
You've got people worried about the dangers of AI, and then you've got...
It's complicated.
It is very complicated.
Fox News also reported on Biden blocking U.S. investments in China-based tech firms,
Okay.
specifically to protect, AI and military development.
What's becoming a global issue.
It is, yeah, like
Wow.
a geopolitical issue.
Definitely.
And it's not just the U.S. We found some interesting things from other news sources.
Yeah.
The U.K. is working on legislation to regulate AI.
Uh-huh.
Ireland is focusing on training their civil servants in AI applications.
It seems like everyone's trying to figure out what to do.
They are.
Yeah, some are going the regulation route, others are focusing on education. Yeah, it's fascinating to see.
It is.
And then there's this whole open source AI movement.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's moving fast and could really change things.
Yeah, it could narrow the gap between, the big companies and everyone else.
Exactly.
Making AI more accessible.
Right.
And more democratic.
So it's a lot to take in.
It
A
is.
lot of moving parts.
A lot of moving parts, yeah.
But I think before we go too far, we should focus on one tool that's been everywhere.
What's that?
ChatGPT.
Oh, ChatGPT. Yeah, everyone's talking about it.
They are.
I mean, it's a powerful tool, that's for sure.
Yeah, it can generate text, answer questions, write different types of content, even translate languages.
And it's being used for, well, practically everything.
It is, yeah.
From poems to scripts to code.
I even saw someone generated music with it.
I'm not surprised.
But what's really interesting is how it's becoming part of our everyday lives.
Okay.
Like the launch of ChatGPT search.
Right.
It's integrated with, news outlets.
Yeah.
And it might even be a competitor to Google one day.
It's interesting how they're positioning it.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's not just a fad. ChatGPT has like 100 million weekly active users.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is. It even had an outage November 8th.
Really? I didn't hear about that.
It was quickly restored, though. So
Yeah.
clearly it's becoming pretty important.
It is, yeah.
And it's not stopping there.
Oh.
With Apple's iOS 18.2 update, it's now built into iPhones and iPads.
Wow.
Yeah, users can even upgrade to ChatGPT Plus
Well, I saw that.
with features like visual intelligence and Genmoji.
So it's basically everywhere now.
It really is. It's a good example of how AI is going mainstream.
Mm-hmm. From research to, like, our pockets.
Exactly.
It's really incredible.
It is. And we can't forget about AI in the arts.
Oh, yes, the arts. That's where things get really interesting.
I do.
Like, we're seeing this whole creative revolution with these new AI tools.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
take DLE2. It can create original art from text descriptions.
Like you just tell it what you want.
Exactly. And it just appears. It's amazing.
That's incredible.
And it's not just static images. AI can help with the whole artistic process.
Okay.
Experimenting different styles.
That's cool.
Yeah, like you have this AI partner
Yeah.
helping you create.
Which makes you wonder, like, what does it even mean to be creative anymore?
That's a big question.
It is.
What's the role of the artist?
Right, yeah. Does AI diminish their role? Or just change it?
These are questions we're all going to be grappling with
I think so.
as AI gets more and more sophisticated.
Yeah, and to really understand the impact, we
Yeah.
need to look at some real-world examples.
Okay, let's do it.
So first up, we have Ida, the the robot artist,
Right. Yeah.
and her painting AI God, which was auctioned at Sotheby's.
That was a big moment for AI art.
It was.
Like, it made people really pay attention.
It did. It challenged our ideas about art.
Yeah, what is art? Who can be an artist?
Yeah, is it human versus machine?
It's fascinating.
It is. It's a lot to unpack.
It is.
But this is just the beginning of our deep dive.
Can't wait to see what else we find.
Stay tuned for more insights and, thought-provoking discussions
Sounds good.
in the next part.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Before we move on,
Yeah.
I wanted to go back to that concern about AI making cheating easier.
Oh, right.
We were talking about Stanford's research.
Yeah, yeah.
And how maybe those fears were a little overblown.
It was. It seemed like everyone was worried about that.
Yeah, it was a big concern.
Like students would just use AI to do all their work.
Exactly.
But it doesn't seem like that's really happening.
Not yet, anyway.
So maybe those predictions were, a little dramatic.
It seems that way. But we can't ignore it completely, right?
Yeah, I guess as AI gets better,
Right.
there's always the chance it could be misused.
Yeah, we need to think about that.
So what can we do?
I think educators need to adapt how they teach and assess students.
Oh,
Move away from just memorizing facts.
right. Yeah.
Focus more on critical thinking.
Skills that are harder for AI to, replicate.
Exactly.
Which brings us back to AI literacy.
It all comes back to that, doesn't it?
It seems like it.
It's so important for students to understand this stuff.
To really grasp the implications.
Yeah, not just the technical side, but the social, economic.
Oh, how it affects their lives.
Right. Their communities, the world.
It's almost like we need a generation of
Yeah.
AI literate citizens who can, think critically about it,
Shape its development.
make sure it's used ethically.
Yeah, that's the goal.
AI for good.
AI for good, exactly.
But, we're still figuring it all out.
We are. It's early days.
A lot of unknowns.
It's exciting, though, isn't it?
It is.
All this potential.
Yeah, and a little scary
A
too.
little bit.
But we'll get there. Okay, maybe we should get back to some of the examples we found.
Okay, yeah.
One that I thought was really interesting
Yeah.
was that Dutch publishing house
Oh, right.
planning to use AI for translations.
That caused quite a stir.
Yeah, a lot of pushback.
Yeah, the translators were not happy.
Understandably so.
I mean, translation is an art, isn't it?
It is.
It's not just about, swapping words.
Yeah, there's nuance.
Cultural
It's
context.
about capturing the author's voice.
Right, and a lot of translators feel like AI can't do that.
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, like maybe for simple things, technical manuals,
Yeah, maybe.
but not for literature.
Where style and, that cultural sensitivity is so important.
And of course, there's the concern about jobs.
Oh, absolutely.
If AI takes over,
What happens to all the translators?
it's a valid question.
It is, and it's not just translation.
Right, it's everywhere.
Any field where AI can do what humans do.
I guess it's about finding that balance.
Right. Between AI's efficiency and human skill.
Human expertise.
Maybe the future is about collaboration.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like AI helps with the basic stuff,
Yeah.
and humans focus on the more, the artistry.
So AI becomes a tool.
Right. A tool to augment.
Replace.
Exactly.
That's an interesting way to think about it.
It is, and it kind of brings us back to the arts.
He does.
AI
Yeah.
creating art, music, stories.
It's mind-blowing.
It is, and it raises these questions about creativity.
Yeah, like what does it even mean to be creative anymore?
Is human creativity less valuable if AI can do it too?
Big questions.
No easy answers.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that,
Yeah.
AI is a tool.
At the end of the day, yeah.
It can be used for good or bad.
It's up to us.
To decide how we use it.
That's the key.
To make sure it's, enhancing our lives,
Right.
not diminishing them.
Yeah, that it encourages creativity, not stifles it.
Exactly. And that it helps us connect.
Not isolate.
That's a big responsibility.
It is a huge responsibility.
The future depends on it.
It does. The future of creativity, of education, of, well, everything.
Okay, well, let's bring this back down to earth a bit.
Okay.
We're talking about the economy
Right.
and the impact of AI.
It's a big one.
It is. It's potentially transformative.
It could change everything.
Like AI could disrupt entire industries
Oh, absolutely.
by automating jobs.
Jobs that humans used to do.
And we're already seeing that happen.
We are.
In manufacturing,
Mm.
transportation, customer service.
And as AI gets better,
Yeah.
it's only going to affect more industries.
Healthcare, education, finance,
Even those.
which could lead to,
Yeah.
job losses.
Economic inequality.
But there's also the potential for
Right.
new jobs,
New industries?
like developing AI-powered products.
Oh, yeah.
The need for AI specialists.
Mm.
AI could even boost productivity across the board.
It's like,
It's disruptive.
it is. Disruptive but creative.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Creative destruction.
Yeah, and there will be winners and losers.
Always are.
So how do we make sure the benefits are shared?
That's the big question.
That's where government comes in, right?
I think so, yeah.
With policies and
So
regulations
smart policies.
to encourage innovation,
But also protect people.
workers, consumers,
Everyone.
and we need to invest in education.
Oh, absolutely.
So people have the skills they need,
For this new world.
and we need to talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
Like have a global conversation
A global conversation, right?
about responsible AI.
This isn't just a national issue.
It's a human issue.
It is. It affects all of us.
And it's exciting, isn't it?
It is. It's a little overwhelming,
Yeah.
but it's exciting.
We're living through this this incredible time of change,
Yeah,
and we have a chance to shape the future.
you do. We really do.
So let's be optimistic
Let's be optimistic
and believe that we can do this.
that we can make AI a force for good.
I like that.
Me too.
Okay, well, speaking of shaping the future,
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos, he's investing in AI robotics.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, the Amazon guy.
He's always been interested in, pushing the boundaries.
He is, and this seems to be his new thing.
Intelligent machines.
And his investment in, what was it called? Physical intelligence.
Yeah, physical intelligence.
It shows how much potential he sees in this.
It does. It's like he's betting on robots.
Robots that can, learn and adapt.
Not just those repetitive tasks.
Right. Robots that can solve problems.
Work with us. It sounds like science fiction.
It does, but it's getting closer.
It is, and it could change so much.
Manufacturing, logistics, healthcare.
Elder care?
Imagine robots assisting surgeons
Or helping the elderly?
or, disaster relief.
It's incredible to think about.
It is, but of course,
There are risks.
there are. With any powerful technology,
We need to be careful.
make sure it's developed ethically.
With human well-being as the priority.
Exactly.
We have to think about the impact on jobs,
On the economy.
on everything.
And, the ethical issues.
The bias, data privacy.
We need to have those conversations
We do, yeah.
about the role we want robots to play.
In our lives, in our society.
Because the future of AI,
Yeah,
it's not just about technology,
it's about us.
about our values.
It's our choices,
So let's make sure robots serve us.
not the other way around.
Exactly. And speaking of shaping the future, we were talking about government and regulations.
Yeah, that's important.
We need rules
Got
to
it.
make sure AI is developed responsibly.
We're seeing some progress there.
We are. Like the UK, they're creating new laws.
To address those risks.
Like they're taking those voluntary AI testing agreements,
Yeah, the voluntary ones.
and making them legally binding.
That's a big step.
It is.
It shows they're serious about this.
Yeah, and they're also proposing an independent AI safety institute.
To keep an eye on things,
Exactly.
Ireland's going a different route.
Yeah, they're focusing on training
So they're civil servants.
to make them, I guess, AI savvy.
Exactly. They want to be a leader in smart technology.
So different approaches.
Different approaches, yeah.
But the same goal.
To harness the power of AI.
Responsibly.
Yeah.
It's a global issue.
It is.
It requires global cooperation.
We need to work together on this.
Okay, let's talk about open source AI.
Oh, yeah. The democratization of AI.
Exactly.
I love that term.
It's basically where the code is freely available
For anyone to use.
to modify, which could really change things.
It could, yeah.
Level the playing field.
So it's not just the big companies controlling everything.
Right, and the performance gap is shrinking.
Between open source and proprietary.
Open source models are getting better.
Yeah, rapidly.
And with Meta's new Llama model coming out,
Things are going to get interesting.
it's going to be a real competition.
It is, and that's a good thing.
It is. It means more innovation.
More people experimenting with AI.
More progress.
And ultimately, that benefits everyone.
I think so too.
It's an incredible time to be following this stuff.
It is. It feels like we're on the edge of something big.
We are. The future of AI is, well, it's wide open.
And it's up to us to make sure it's a good one.
Okay, one last thing before we wrap up.
Yeah.
We were talking about ethics
Right.
and all the potential downsides of AI.
We can't ignore those.
No.
Yeah,
No.
it could be misused.
Abused, even weaponized.
So we need to be having these conversations.
Open and honest conversations.
About the ethical implications.
About bias.
Data privacy.
Impact on jobs.
We need to develop ethical frameworks.
Guidelines for using AI.
And everyone needs to be involved.
Not just the tech people.
Ethicists, policymakers, the public.
Because this is a human issue.
It is. It's about who we are.
What we value.
What kind of world we want to live in. I think that's a good place to pause.
It is. A lot to think about.
When we come back, we'll dive into some of the most intriguing developments.
Yeah.
The latest trends, the challenges.
Sounds great.
Shaping the future of AI. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've been talking about AI and all the ways it's changing things, like in education and the arts. And right before the break, we were discussing how important it is to be open about the ethics of AI.
Yeah, it's crucial that we don't just sit back and watch as this all unfolds. We need to be a part of shaping how AI develops.
I totally agree. We can't just react. We have to be proactive, right? That means really engaging with AI, from the technical stuff to how it affects, well, everything.
Exactly. It's not enough to just understand how it works. We have to understand its impact on, our lives, our communities, the planet.
And we have to make sure AI is used to make things better, not worse. That it makes things more equal, not less. That it helps us create a more peaceful world, not a more conflicted one.
That's a lot to think about.
It is, but I think we're smart enough to figure it out, to use AI for good.
I hope so. But it takes effort, right?
Yeah.
We need to be deliberate and thoughtful in how we approach AI.
Speaking of AI and education, we've seen some exciting stuff there. Personalized learning, feedback, support for teachers. But it seems like there's even more going on.
Oh, absolutely. Researchers are looking at how AI can help students who are struggling, give them more tailored support, and create more inclusive learning environments.
I like that, making education more accessible for everyone.
Exactly. And AI is being used to create new ways to assess what students are learning, going beyond those traditional tests.
Oh, right, yeah.
The goal is to get a more complete picture of, what students actually know.
That makes sense, but maybe the biggest thing is that AI is making us rethink what education should be.
I think so, yeah.
It's pushing us to move away from memorizing facts and focus on those critical thinking skills.
Creativity, problem solving.
Exactly, the things that are, essential in an AI-powered world.
It's about giving students the tools to be, lifelong learners, able to adapt to all this change.
And to make education more equitable so everyone has a chance to succeed, no matter their background.
I think that's crucial.
Yeah, it really is. It's exciting to see what's happening in education, and I can't wait to see what the future holds.
Me too. There's so much potential there to really make a difference in people's lives.
Okay, well, before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one last thing to think about.
Okay, I'm listening.
We've talked about AI personalizing learning, creating art, writing stories, even translating languages. We've talked about the ethical stuff, the need to be responsible, the whole AI literacy thing. But here's the question that keeps coming back to me. If AI can do all these things, what does it even mean to be human in this age of intelligent machines?
Wow, that's a big one.
It is, and I don't think there's an easy answer.
No, I don't think so either.
But it's something we all need to consider, right? Because it's going to shape how we see ourselves, how we interact with technology, how we build the future.
It's a future that's full of possibilities, good and bad. Technology is going to keep advancing, and the lines between humans and machines are going to get blurrier and blurrier.
And the choices we make now, they're more important than ever.
So let's make good choices, Let's embrace the good that AI can bring while protecting our values, our humanity, our planet.
Let's make sure AI empowers us, not controls us. Let's make sure it makes our lives better, not worse. Let's make sure it helps us create a better world for everyone.
That's a great goal.
And I think we can get there.
I think so too. We have to try.
Okay, well, I think that's a good place to wrap up our deep dive.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. We've covered a lot, and we hope you've learned something new.
And keep thinking about these things.
Keep asking questions.
Keep learning.
Keep diving deep.
Until next time.